One of our big jobs as programmers is to find domain concepts and represent them in code. I'm working on a game that has multiple rounds, and so we have rounds, but there's no round number. This is a problem because I've been using an integer to represent both the human round number, round 1, round 2, and the computer zero-based index of index 0, index 1. The lines are getting crossed, confusion everywhere, and so it falls on us as the human developers with even AI assistance to identify here's a domain concept that has been invisible. Let's make it explicit. Right. Welcome back, Mudshark, for another round of live coding. Bill's here too. Excellent. Another round of live coding on the Quality Coding live stream. Greetings to people watching after the fact. My name is John Reed. I am author of this. Find me here. Hey, I'm Combs. Okay, there are more folks here than my stats are letting on. Good, good. I was starting to wonder about this time. I still am wondering about this time as there's been a drop. John Irving, Eric, everyone's piling in. Okay, I take back everything I was about to say about questioning this time, whether things go up and down. That's normal, John. Don't freak out just because people don't show up for a while. You're allowed to have lives, so am I. We are, for the last couple times, we've made, the progress has been not in the development of Mastermind itself, but in the tooling, playing with tools. We added a linter to our run script to make sure that it doesn't add arrange, act, assert comments to our tests. And we extracted a helper that is really useful for reporting when there's a problem with finding a view. And last time we improved on that, made it even better. And it's super simple. It goes like this. It's an old trick. Because of the way View Inspector just will throw an error if it can't find a particular view, and then the source of that error is deep inside of View Inspector. Old trick, just wrap it in a do catch and say, okay, now let's report the location of the error at the call site. I gotta say, this is one of the best things about Swift, is the ability to have the location of the call site without having a bunch of old C preprocessor macro fun. I don't think we miss those days, Bill. Some things, yeah, but the C preprocessor macros, not so much. So nothing like really earth-shattering, but really nice to have it. And all we had to do then is to say, instead of find view with accessibility identifier, we now say find view by accessibility identifier or by ID. Same stuff. So really handy. These I think I will publish. I wanted to let it bake another session, and then I'll probably publish them. in terms of Mastermind itself, it's going to be like, my gosh, we haven't made any progress. But that's been a learning thing that maybe we ought to have built up the engine first and then attach the UI to it rather than trying to drive the creation of an engine from a game engine from the UI inwards. But that's part of the learning. We are still trying to do multiple rounds. And in that context, we're trying to set up, trying to show 10 empty rounds, but play one round. Let's just see where we are right now. It's been a while. There it is. Same old, same old. Nothing much to see there. But we did. Okay, this is what we did. This is what we need to get back to. And I thought we had a test for this in place. Yeah, something's really funky with my live stats of viewership, assuming you're all still here. The numbers are off. That's good. Let's see. This was... Hey, Garbob in the house. That's where we're starting. There we go. Let's have a look at this. I don't see a disabled test. Oh no, there it is. Skip if. All right, so I just need to find the skip if. There we are. Could have done that with a bookmark as well. Okay. So. I'll leave the IDs alone, although I don't care for searching by ID as much. But why don't we bring this into play and then we'll figure out where we're going. In the test code, in the test setup, we have 2 rounds, it looked like. So we're trying to do find. There we go. And hey, there's our nice failure that it fails on the line rather than deep inside of View Inspector. I wanted to demo that for folks who weren't here last couple weeks. So there it is. Okay. And we go to game screen. And there's our rounds currently iterating from 0 to 0. So I think this will pass. It's not what we want, but I think it'll pass. Yeah, let's just try it. So that is clearly the area we want to tweak. This will be... So now we should be seeing 2 rounds. Not in the order we want. I want it to go round 1 on the bottom, and we play up towards the pegs at the top. Is how that's based on the old physical game. So this is now something I used to feel the need to triangulate this kind of thing and say, let's make another, maybe a different thing with a number of rounds here. And maybe we still need to do that. Make game. Where's make game used? We've got make SUT. Okay, make game, the SUT, which is the game screen, the game is fed into it. Okay, so we could triangulate. Where did you see that? Let's have a look. That looks like the place. Yeah. I think triangulation is probably the right way to go, but in that case, then let's refactor before we triangulate. Because this duplication is what I'm looking at right there. Duplication. Something like that. We'll figure out. Actually, we should know the number of rounds, and then we can use that, I think. So do we want to windsurf at this point? Use that's what I happen to be using these days. I don't know. I'm now. I'll share something. Where was it? I'm starting to feel this more these days. That Gen AI, I feel like it accelerates the ability to generate larger amounts of code. It is definitely valuable for doing refactorings that Xcode is incapable of. And so it accelerates manual refactoring. But I don't feel a need to have to use it all the time. I did do that. I think it's valuable to try that for a day, a few days, whatever it takes to get the hang of it, and then swing back and say, you know what, I was faster at some things. Now, is that going to change as AI changes? I don't know. Maybe. Certainly AI has changed a lot in the last few months, quite a bit. So maybe I need to lean into that occasionally. But right now, let's just take this and say, hang on a second. What I want to do, extract that. Oh, it did. Ha 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 ha. Good name for this, inspectable, maybe. Oh, I wish it didn't do that. So when there are suggestions, when there's only one suggestion, then smash F is like fix everything. Um, but unfortunately, it applies them all. And this is why I is that still better? Yeah, it's a little bit better. Displays 2 rounds. How about that? So just a bit of refactoring there. Now, let's make it, let's triangulate. Yes, thank you. Let's do that. Because right now it's incidental buried down here. And that'll be better before I copy it. Much better. We don't want to rely on hidden knowledge. It's ideal if a test, you can see all the parts of a test, the input, that's the valuable input that was implicit before. Ah, this should have been low risk refactoring because it is in test code. Let's think about triangulating this. I expect this will fail. Oh, parameterized. I mean, for folks who don't know, Bill made a lovely thing to parameterize in XeTest. It is very nice. All right, so this should fail, right? And then we will clean it up. Get it all working. There we go. So this should be some sort of game number. I don't know. Doesn't the game have a number of rounds? What happens with this? Number of rounds determines the round's size. Okay, so it's a little funky, but we should be able to get to game rounds. What is rounds? So there's no way to get at the number of rounds, but we can fix that. We can expose it. I don't feel a need to hold on to it. It just determines the size of the inner array. So let's do rounds count. Oh, yeah. When it's a one-liner, I prefer to do it like that. -1. Let's see, this is show correct number of rounds. So now we should be seeing 10. Ta-da! Want to flip them? But let's keep track of what's going on here. I'm going to move this over. This is not an actual task. This is just a reminder. So let's say rounds, and we want to show that is what I want to do next. Whoop. Before we do, let's see if there's any refactoring. There's a, we could do evil TDD. Right now, there's no guarantee that that this ain't there. So how does that work again? I think this is, that's a good idea. That -1 is funky. Let's see if it does that. Let's try it and see if that way, this gives me confidence, assuming this works. Because it's not throwing. That's not the problem. It's actually reporting an error. My helpful, handy dandy thing. Before it rethrows, it actually reports the thing. So, I mean, I could say do a find. Let's do that. It's this one. There we go. Let's talk about the ordering next, but first, this is really extending the test. So it's like check for the something like that. Cool. That's better. Now, in terms of the order of the round views, I don't know if it is. I'm not even sure. I don't remember what this -1 is. I think that's actually, I think this is 1 and this is 2. I think that's what those are. Yeah. So it's a little bit, um, it's an implementation detail that's bleeding through. The tests are taking advantage of it, but maybe we should, before, like, why rush? Maybe the entire row should have, yes, it is. And so why don't we search for the row instead of a particular slotted guess? That is a good thing to do. Okay. So what I think would be nice would be to say accessibility identifier like that. In fact, let me build this up in the entire thing. Keeping the rest of it there in parallel, but we should now have, whoops, what's the deal here? Do, do, do. We should now have various failures. Why? Oh, it didn't continue. I thought it's going to continue on, and we should see 3 failures. But because this rethrows, whoops, what was that? What are you doing? Because this rethrows the error, it doesn't continue on. I know that's bizarre for folks from other test frameworks where it definitely stops on the first test, the first assertion failure, but that's not how things work in Apple land. That's not the new helper, isn't this? Yeah, this is the other helper that we made. But this one we want to use kind of like this. We want the error to actually throw, but not report a test failure. So it's a subtle difference between this and this in terms of, it looks funny, but there's a reason to use one or the other. Okay, let's do this. So this will be where? Probably a round view. Look at that. Here's our guesses, where each guess is a circle button. So wait. Oh, the text has accessibility on it. So we need to put it on the H stack. Yep. I get a little lost with Copilot and how it shows things, and it's like, there. And it's like, what is this extra garbage? I believe this will pass. Good. Add accessibility identifier to entire round view. We've got duplication. If you have not run Llewellyn Falco's Sparrow decks and gone through the exercises several times yourself, I highly recommend them. The one on duplication is especially ingenious, excuse me, because it forces you to scan and get used to like looking for duplication. Here it's very small, but you know, we ought to pay attention to that kind of thing. Okay, so this will become a computed property, like a human, or just sure, not bad. This should pass. Straight refactoring. This is always a challenge, isn't it? Well, no, not always. You don't often deal with cases where we're dealing with zero index stuff, except now we're dealing with people, and we don't want to use zero indexing. So round has a round number. And is that all? Like, is that all it's used for? This is one thing I wish Xcode were better at. What are the callers? Nothing. I doubt that very much. Test, test, test. Round number. It's getting kind of long there. Let's... Yeah, it would be nice to have it be consistent. Let me just do a little... Oh, well, I'm going to worry about reverse later. But this is just realigning code here. So, here, index access. Well, let's try it. If we change it here, and just for yucks, I imagine there will be various things that break. Oh, look at this. I missed one. We're doing half TCR here. Oh, it worked. Is this still valuable? I don't think so. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the code that's still up just to review. So if we have the zero-based thing to set up. Why is it zero-based? Why can't this be 1, 2, number of rounds like that? Over range. Because the range is only used to generate this number here. So that is fine. This is still funny. Look like there are various places that are doing round 0, round 0, round 0, round 0, round index. So that's the. So what if it weren't round index, but it were actually the round number? Yes. I'm just doing this little bit of renaming here while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that becomes a problem with. But we could say treat this as an index or treat this not as an index, but as like I kind of like this better because here's the crux of the problem. The primitive, right, that we're dealing with, and we're hiding that primitive inside of this class. So we should be able to do that. I do. Not a huge amount. Let's try it and see. Round 1. And the question is, will it blow up? Round index. Just to keep it. That's a nice idea. Just going to copy, paste, and let it do the rest. There's my smash F. Because I could trust that there was only one thing there. So it's easy to fix like that. How's that sit? This is a very good thought. We haven't run tests. Will anything just explode? Yes! Kaboom! No, no. So much boom. Do you need to know round index explicitly? What about using next? You only need one game at a time, which is all we have, and rounds would handle order implicitly. Yeah. Could the rounds themselves be a little smarter? Not do all this fiddly stuff. So here we've got crashing all over the place. The quickest way back is to revert, but let's try to fix, let's pick one and try to fix forward. Why don't we start with, oops, this one. Oh, there's round 0. Shows round number 1. So I think that this is, oh, boom. Okay, so inside of round view, we've got that round. How to do this? Let's spend a couple more minutes and try to get this. Round index is based on round. And round index, of course, is the problem. It's no longer an index. Let's try running just that suite by itself. Okay, not committing this. The way my script works is if you leave it blank and commit, it doesn't actually commit. Now let's try them all. Nope. Six, 7, 8, 9. Let's do 1. And for a change, let's turn on the debugger. Folks at work don't understand how much, there's our assertion at work, how much the debugger slows down everything they do, and that it's good to leave it off until you need it. Oh, dare I say app code? I do. App code had 2 commands. One was run with debugger, run without debugger, or test with debugger, test without debugger. Like you could just do it without changing settings. All right. Well, there's our round view, round index. Okay, I think I need to reset. It's been too long. I'm uncomfortable with this. Let's just make sure we're still green. We got round index all over the place. In fact, if I search for round index, so there are various places where it shows up, and I feel like we ought to shift this over. So this is done, but we want to unify round as there we go. It's funny. I had windsurf all warmed up and I haven't touched it. I do use it a fair amount at work, but I use it well, even that is less than I used to. Definitely all in to get the hang of it. That's how you learn a new tool. I don't know. It's good for big changes, maybe not so good for small changes. But could it do this? Well, that's the heart of the problem, isn't it? Somebody posted this excellent graph about the amount of code basically that you have going up and your knowledge, your understanding, your mental model going up only slightly and the gap increasing, and that gap is risk. And others pointed out, that's theory of constraints. We're optimizing the wrong thing again, and therefore making the system worse, not better. So, yeah, we need to increase our understanding. But I wonder if we can do this. Let's try this real quickly and see if it can't do it for us. Because we're talking, this is a case where it wasn't a small change, it was too big. Round to represent a one-based human readable domain concept of a game round. I want to avoid round index the last moment for indexing into a primitive array. Plan the work. Let's see what it does. It's looking at rounds, game screen tests, checking out other files. You know, I find it interesting that one of the reasons agentic AI has just leapt forward is that they have built in smaller steps. We're trying to work in small steps because to do extreme programming, but agentic AI is succeeding because they've broken my big prompt somehow into multiple steps. And I think that's really cool. Okay, Brian Kernighan quote, everyone knows that debugging is twice as hard as writing a program in the first place. So if you're as clever as you can be when you write it, how will you ever debug it? I love that quote. Oh, man. Okay, it's searching, examining files. Let me check. Now I have a clear understanding. Introduce one-based round domain concept. Current state, problems identified. Zero-based loops, round index, round zero, round number, but it's actually one-based from constructor. Mixed terminology. Proposed solution. Create a round number value object. An object? Maybe that's the hidden thing, that it needs basically a little bit of type safety. Oh, that's good. Instead of an integer. Okay, we're running out of time here because it's time for my wife and I to go to the farmer's market. But this looks like something fun to continue next time. I asked it to plan the work. Small objects definitely for the win. And it has planned the work, and I want to continue reviewing this, so let's finish up. I'll leave this as the work in progress. Thoughts? I'm scared to upgrade. At some point I will, but not yet. Okay. What do you think? What are our takeaways this time? To review, looks like that's about, this is what we did. So one thing we did was avoid on details, just search for round view. That's something that was on the list to do, at least my mental list, but it's good to do. Confusion. It's really a domain problem. Um, I'd say, again, mm, yeah. Uh, Here, I'll show you the actual graph. I will share this link because this is worth considering. Down here, as I know, you know, well, I don't know who, I actually don't know who the author is. Somebody else I know commented on this that got my attention. This is Theory of Constraints 101. Improvements not at the bottleneck are useless. Worse than useless sometimes. They can actually make it worse. So I've excuse me, I bookmarked this for workshop I'm working on now. Yeah. What's interesting is that it suggested that can bring type safety and disallow bad values. Centralize it all down. Final takeaways are sort of a parallel. Yep. Yeah, it was primitive obsession, a hidden domain concept. Thank you, Bill, for identifying, you know, why are we doing it that way? Hidden domain concepts are that's one of the joys of programming. All right. Thank you very much, folks. Good time. Good to have more folks on board. I'm always glad when you regulars drop by and contribute. It means a lot and it's super helpful. And I learn. For folks who are watching after the fact, folks on Twitch, hey, follow me. Folks on YouTube, right? Smash things, smash buttons, give me feedback. And I'd love to hear on YouTube comments, not just likes. Likes are helpful, but your thoughts, your questions, your takeaways. Leave a comment. That's, I think, would be fun all around. All right, with that, that's a wrap. I'm off to the farmer's market. See you folks next week.